Morning and welcome to Be Lean in 2015, the place to get the psychological tools and techniques to keep you motivated and have that lean, healthy, sexy feeling. Good morning. So today we're going to talk about cravings, and I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so cravings. On a weight plan journey, obviously we need to manage our cravings. And a craving is a constant war with food and possibly drink. And if we think about other things, possibly cigarettes or drugs. But today we're going to focus on food. Okay. And sometimes when we're craving, we need to realize that that might not be hungry. It could be that we're thirsty, that our body is dehydrated, or it could be that something's just happened to trigger us to go for that food that we would normally feed our emotions with. So maybe the boss has asked us to do something in 5 minutes that we know would take an hour, and we're unable to cope. And we go into flight and fight mode, cortisol is released in our body, and we reach for the next thing that we usually reach for. And because it creates a physical response. And we go into panic. And when we're in panic, we need to do something. And we're also in a disempowered place. Mentally, we've gone into the part of our brain when we're likely to make bad decisions. And we're going to use food to move us away from pain as a distraction from the emotion that we're feeling. And it's a short-term, temporary coping strategy to find pleasure. So we need, in this moment, we need to get our focus back on our long-term future vision. I've talked about this earlier in the series. It's about having one eye on your long-term future vision while you've got one eye on your current reality, realizing that you've gone into flight and fight mode and that you quickly need to bring yourself into the present moment. And one good way to do that is to get yourself focused on your long-term future vision. To ask yourself, what do I want instead, is one good way to switch our mindset. Other good ways is to get ourselves back into the present moment by becoming aware that we're having this physical reaction. Awareness is the first step towards change. And one good thing to say to ourselves is, I feel whatever we're feeling in my. So get yourself back into the present. Get yourself back into your body. I feel tense in my chest. Secondly, get into the emotion. Recognize it. You might not be hungry. You actually might be having a feeling. You might be feeling angry. You might be feeling afraid. You might be feeling afraid that, oh my, I'm not going to get that promotion because I might not be able to do that task my boss has just set me in the time frame he set it. And it's to become aware that you're about to have an urge. You've got an urge and you're about to take a short-term action. I talked earlier in the series, everything we do either moves us away from or towards something. And that's why it's good to script out your long-term future vision so you can have one eye on it. So realize and recognize that I have an urge to have a bar of chocolate. Notice and recognize that short-term impulse. And then recognize the negative consequence of that short-term action. Maybe when you've eaten the chocolate, maybe you're going to beat yourself up. Tell yourself off. Recognize. And then ask yourself, what would be a better thing to do right now? Having that chocolate is going to move me away from my weight loss goal. What would move me towards? Well, maybe I'll have a drink of water, see if I'm thirsty, and then go from there. And then, when you've recognised the better thing to do, like have the glass of water, ask yourself, what will that give me? What will that better solution give me? What is the benefit for reaching for the glass of water rather than the chocolate? So it's getting our focus into our body, onto our long-term future vision, but saying that you need to have a long-term future vision. And if anybody wants to email me, I have a master dreams list where you can script out your long-term future vision in every area of your life, or you could just focus on your weight loss goal. Or you could focus on your bigger vision for your life, and that will give you your why, something to move towards, your motivational factor to achieve your weight loss goal. Another way is to use tapping, because tapping sends calming signals to the brain. Tapping also brings us into the present moment and quietens the mind. It reduces the physical and emotional pull, and I talked about this in session 3. It helps with the pattern of panic and stress. I did a tapping around panic and stress, and if you're doing that, that will already help you with cravings. And using the pattern of panic and stress tapping, the cravings will start to disappear as you let go of criticism and body shaming and we start loving ourselves. And then when we love ourselves, we want to feed our bodies with good food. So looking at symptom tapping, which is what we're going to look at today in association with cravings, just seeing the tapping points, another way is symptom tapping. And symptom tapping is giving a voice to how bad you want that chocolate. I'm going to use chocolate today because chocolate is something that most of us tend to crave. So it's giving a voice to how badly we want it. And when we're tapping, we're going to focus on the craving whilst tapping on the points. And the first point I'm showing here is the karate chop on the side of the hand. And then we'll go around the body. So the first thing we need to do is to identify the target. What do I want to work on? Do I have a craving with chocolate? These are some of the questions. What feelings am I trying to avoid? Anger, anxiety, possibly physical pain in our body. The more specific we get, the better. The more specific we get about what we want to work on and the feelings or the pain in our body, the better. So what am I craving is another good question. Imagine it now, that craving. What does it look like? How does it smell and taste when we eat that food that we're craving? So let's tap. Okay, so I'm going to just take you through this and then I'll unshare my screen and I'm going to take you through a tapping process. But if you could just close your eyes for the moment and take a deep breath in. And just tune into the issue. Tune into that craving. Feel it in your body. Is there a feeling, an anxiety, a pain? Maybe it's a headache in your head. So look for that physical pain, if there is any. Maybe some tension, some stress. Something's triggered. You're wanting to reach for that chocolate. And ask yourself, what is it really all about? And then give it a number between 0 and 10. 0 being a low and 10 being really, really, really high craving. And if you want, you can write it down. And this works best when the number is over a 5. When the number is over a 5, or if you write a number 8, the thing is to keep tapping on the same thing until it becomes below a 5. So now you've got your number and that craving. I just want to take you quickly through this before we start the tapping with either side of the body. And we're going to tap on the setup statement on the karate chop at the side of the hand 3 times. And we're going to be honest about how we're feeling. I've just taken you through how you might be feeling. And it's to be honest with ourselves. And sometimes we're scared to acknowledge our feelings because we feel that they're going to stay there. But actually, when you acknowledge how you feel, you actually get to a point where you can release it. Okay? So it will be something like, even though I crave that chocolate, I completely love and accept myself. And just a reminder, I will take you through this anyway, but there's the eyebrow point, either side of the body, side of the eye, both sides of the body if you want, under the eye, nose, chin crease, collarbone, under the arm, and we finish at the top of the head. So just to recap, identify the target, karate chop, even though I have this craving. Then we're going to move through the tapping points and we're going to do 1 or 2 negative rounds. And this is to acknowledge how we're feeling, to release them. And then just a tip, I'm going to take you through a script, and this script has actually come from Jessica Altner. But if you're doing tapping on your own, and you've got your own feelings, as you tap around the points, pretend you're complaining to your best friend while you're tapping. On the side of the hand. Okay, so we're going to close our eyes and take a deep breath again and tap back into that craving and how it's making us feel. And we're going to start on the karate chop here. Even though I really want this chocolate, I love and accept myself. And you can switch hands if you want. Even though I really want this chocolate, I accept how I feel and I choose to feel calm now. If you could just say it with me, on the other hand, even though I really want this chocolate, I accept how I feel and I stay relaxed now. Okay, now to the eyebrow point. I need this chocolate, side of the eye. Don't take it away from me, under the eye. I don't even want this chocolate to go away, under the nose, because I really want this chocolate. Chin. I can feel it with my entire body. This pressure in my body, collarbone, under the arm. This intense craving, top of the head, because I need this chocolate. Eyebrow. Even though I need this chocolate, side of the eye. It's safe to relax now. Under the eye. I'm allowed to have this chocolate. You could do it with both if you want. Nose. Or not have this chocolate. Chin. I can choose what I want. Collarbone. I can feel calm and centered now. Arm. Oh. I can feel really good right now. Top of the head. I can eat this chocolate or not eat this chocolate. So if we just take a deep breath and we just check in with how we're feeling, and note our number earlier, and if it was an 8, we would keep doing these 2 negative rounds until it was a 5 or below. And then when it's a 5 or below, we can start finishing off with a positive round. Because we have just acknowledged how we're feeling about this craving. Okay, so hopefully if you're doing this on your own, you would do those 2 rounds until it's under a 5. But we're going to carry on assuming it's under a 5. And we're going to start at the side of the eye, either one or both sides. I can eat it now or later. Side of the eye. I am in control. Under the eye. I am centered in my body. Nose. It feels so good to feel good. Collarbone. I am in control. Oh, I missed the chin point. And I choose what's right for me. I can have it now or later. Top of the head. I am in control. So just take a deep breath and notice that was a positive round where we're talking to ourselves and in a positive way and moving on and hopefully feeling really centered and calm and back into the right part of the brain where we're going to make that better decision to choose to have a glass of water because we're centered and we're going to make decisions in alignment with our long-term future vision. So when we've done the tapping, we then need to check in with ourselves. We need to tune into our body. If we had a pain, has that anxiety and pain shifted? Is it less? Are we feeling more centered? And what's our number now? And as I said earlier, when you do the 2 negative rounds, you can repeat until it's a 5 or below. And then we do the positive round to finish off. Another thing I talked earlier about when we're in panic mode, we want to do something and tend to want to do something to make us feel good, to give us pleasure. And sometimes it is reaching for that food. So another thing that we can do is to think about our lives in general. What pleasure do we give ourselves and what other ways could we have more pleasure? What ways outside of food can we have pleasure? I'm a weight plan consultant and when my clients achieve their goal, I set them a weekly goal. When they achieve their weekly goal, I always ask them, how are you going to celebrate this? Because when you celebrate, you attract more things to celebrate. You'll attract more good things to celebrate. And it needs to be outside of food because they're on a weight plan journey and tend to be on sole source where they're just having Cambridge products. So what other ways? Well, some of them buy a nail varnish or a pair of earrings, or they'll go for a massage or go out to the cinema. But it has to be something away from food. And we need to get excited about our life. And one good way of doing that is finding our passion. What's our life purpose? And then we've got our big why. And that's why it's important to script out our long-term future vision so that we can and find ways of finding our passion, maybe listing all the things that you do really well and maybe taking a new direction in life. So we need to step into our power. So thank you for coming today. Next week, we're going to look at emotional eating and weight to lose weight, about why we wait to date or change our job or go for our dreams, and a little bit of work in the future around forgiveness. So thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed this hangout and you learnt a lot. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time, and in the meantime, start tapping.